Hi all, welcome to the next module of our paper, which is called Management Skills. So first we will see the definition of the management skill. Management skill is nothing, it's an ability of a person who acts as a manager, is able to execute, to fulfill he should have some ability to execute to fulfill the specific task in an organization. In an organization there will be a different task, so a manager should have an ability to execute all these tasks in effective manner. So there may be different crisis situations he or she may face. So during that situation he need to take some prompt solving problems. Okay. These management skills can be developed through the learning and on the practical experience only. So through these skills, the manager is able to relate with their fellow, and he know how to deal well with their subordinates. So that allows him for the easy flow of activities in the organization. So the managerial skills are three types: technical skills, human skills, and conceptual skills. The technical skills means it is the ability to analyze and diagnose a situation and distinguish between cause and effect. Next is human skill. The human skill is definitely related to the human behavior. That is the ability to understand, alter means change, lead and control the behavior of other individuals and groups. Next is conceptual skill. It is the specific knowledge and techniques that require to perform an organizational role. So next is resource management. Resource management, simply we can say it is a planning, organizing and allocating the resource important for your business, that is to ensure the maximum efficiency. So it is this resource management that is a efficient and effective development of an organization resources when they are needed. So there are different types of resources are available in the organization. For a successful running of an organization, we need to manage all this resource in a effective manner. So the different types of resources, which include the financial resources, because the finance is a very important, because for running out different projects, we need different resources for that particular thing. So money is a very important thing for the existence of the particular organization. Next is inventory. Inventory means it's related to the availability of the goods, whether the sufficient number of goods is there, whether they reach in the right time and right place. All those management will comes under the inventory management. Then human skills. For effective running of an organization, the different skills, the different human skills need to be utilized. uh, Next is production resources, or information technology and natural resources. So these are the different types of resources. That is, all these resources are connected to an organization. So these resources may be a tangible and a intangible type. Intangible means it is something that does not have a physical nature. For example, staffing and time. And tangible means they are the materials that you can touch and feel. For example, equipment, materials, and finances. So next is, so from the definitions, we have understood that resource management is the core part of an organization. So this resource management is involved in the leveling and the smoothing of all the resources. Now the resource leveling, it is a design to avoid shortages or excess inventory by keeping the stock of resources at a level that avoid both problems. We should not come to a situation whether the goods become a shortage. At the same time, the goods won't be in excess also, because that will causes many monetary losses for the organization. So there is a inventory management should be there. So for doing such things, a specialized software will be available that help to determine that particular level, that is the shortage or excess of the goods to checking the shortages and the excess of the goods. It's also used in reference to the time it takes to complete a project. With leveling, the start and finish dates are adjusted so that they mesh with the resource availability. So leveling might extend the project timeline. So in an organization, different projects were there. So for each project, there will be a starting and a finishing date will be there. So if sometimes, if the due to a few different reasons, the project time may be extended. So such things we need to mesh with the resources availability, and according to the resources availability, we need to adjust it, those project dates. So such leveling that might extend the project timeline. Next is resource smoothing. The resource smoothing, that is a scheduling technique that attempt to meet a specified deadline while avoiding peaks and valleys on the resources. So the prime goal is we need to use the resources in constantly over the time. So next is the resource management is about making sure that a company is using its talents and materials wisely and effectively. So overall, the resource management is they are making sure whether this company is using all the talents and the materials effectively. So this is all about the resource management. Now we will see what is human resources. Simply, we can say human resource is one people within a company's overall workforce. So, in an organization, there is a human force is there to execute the different work. So, with each person lending their skills and talents to the organization to help it succeed. So, we are paying money for the each individual for making utilizing their skills and talents for the success running of the organization. So, any person willing to trade their labor, knowledge, or time for the compensation in an effort to improve the organization is a human resource. So, what is a human resource? The person, the individual person who is willing to trade their labor, knowledge, or time for the compensation in an effort to improve the organization. That is what we call human resource. The person willing to spend his mental and physical energy and time for the success level of that or particular organization, for improving the, if they are putting all their effort for the improving of that organization. That is what we call human resource. An example is a human resource, that is a department that you would speak with to get more information about the employee benefit. So in a human resource department, so that we will see in the coming slide also. So that particular department is handling the different the different concepts or a different ideas for the benefits of the employees, those who working in that organization. So they are all overall handling the all matters that related to the employees. So it fall under 5 core functions, like human resources that fall under 5 core functions like staffing development, compensation, safety and health of the employees, then employee and the labor relations. So these are the different core functions which come under the human resources. Now we will see human resource management. Actually, human resource management, that is a process of employing the people. Once you employ the people, once you give a job to a people, we need to train them. The next is compensating them. So we need to compensate their effort by giving the a satisfactory amount or a money to them. And we need to develop different policies, because for every organization there should be a company policies are there for the benefit of the both company, for both the organization and also those employees also. So under developing strategies to retain employees, we need to retain our employees in the organization. So there are few strategies to retain the employees. Okay. Next is time, money, and energy management. So that is another important part, because the time and energy, these two resources are very closely interlinked. We know energy, simply we can say energy is the capacity to do the work. we can do our work only when the time is available. So both are interlinked. We can say that energy, as I told you, energy is a capacity to do the work. It means that just as available time as a resource is limited, we also have a limited amount of energy. If the time is limited, energy is also limited. So we can say that within limited time, we must finish all our work with our limited energy. Next is factors that influence effective time management. So how we can use the time effectively. So there are few factors that influence the time management. One is make a time schedule which can be easily followed. If a particular task is assigned you, first we need to make a time schedule which we are able to follow. Next is make a time schedule which is practical and flexible and can be changed easily in emergency. So the time schedule which you made should be practically and flexible. It should be a practical and also a flexible nature. The time schedule should have a practical and a flexible nature. So, and if any emergency comes, we should we are able to change uh, that particular schedule. Now think of an alternative plan of action of emergency. If any emergency comes, an alternative plan should also be included. So in the particular time schedule, we should allow rest and leisure time activities also. Then also we need to combine all the activities for the better time utilization of time. So these are the different factors that influence the effective time management. Now we will see what do you mean by the energy management. Simply from the term itself, we know to manage how we will manage the energy for executing a particular task. So energy management is a difficult task as the energy expenditure for various activity depends on the individual physical and mental health. So energy expenditure for the different activity that will depends upon the physical and mental health of an individual. So in an organizational task, there are different efforts are needed for performing different tasks like a mental effort, visual effort, manual effort, tossal effort. Tossal effort means like a turning, bending, leaning, different activities. Okay, that's a part of their job. And pedal effort. So all those effort, the energy is essential. So for executing our energy management, there are a few steps. First, we need to meter our energy consumption. Okay, how much energy that you have, and the energy spent for doing that particular job. And also, we should find some opportunity to save the energy. And also, we should estimate how much energy each opportunity could have for doing particular different tasks, how much energy we have taken, how much energy uh, we need to complete that particular task. Next is taking action to target the opportunities to save energy. We need different steps. That is mainly to target the opportunity to save the energy. We need to save our energy, is it? Now tracking your progress by analyzing your meter data to see how well your energy saving effort have worked. Now overall energy progress that we need to track. That is to understand how well your energy saving efforts have worked. So these are the different steps we need to uh, execute this energy management. Next is money management. Money management is the process of budgeting, saving, investing, spending, or otherwise overseeing the capital usage of an individual or group. Financial management that refers to the strategic planning, organizing, directing, and controlling of financial undertakings in an organization or an institute. It also includes applying management principles to the financial assets of organization, while also playing an important part in the fiscal management. Actually, money is a very important thing. Because the money management, it is a process of a budgeting, saving, investing, spending, or otherwise overseeing the capital usage of an individual or group. So the money what you invested or what you earn and what is your savings. So that everything should be go in an effective manner. So the financial management normally it refers to the strategic planning, organizing, directing, and controlling of a financial undertakings in an organization or an institute. So normally these include applying management principles to the financial assets of organization while also playing an important part of the fiscal management. Fiscal management is a process of planning, directing, and controlling the financial resources. So next, coming to the decision making. Decision making is another important step or another important managerial skill. So normally the management occurs when there is some problem to solve, some choice to take. The various steps in the management process are really a series of decisions based upon our previous experience. So as I told you in the first slide, like management skill, we can learn only through our experiences. So here it is explaining the same point here also. So from the previous experience only, we will be able to take a prompt decisions. So therefore, decision making is the heart of a management. A decision can be defined as a course of action consciously chosen from the available alternatives for the purpose of desired result. Is it? So normally a decision we can define as a course of action which is consciously taken from the available alternatives. What are the available alternatives for that particular situations? We will take an effective alternative for solving that particular problem. So the role of decision making in management involves knowing and actually applying the essential information in problem situation of a day-to-day life. Thus, it is used to achieve goals and assessing standards. So decision making is another important managerial skill. Here are the different steps in a decision making process. One is, first we need to define the problem. Second is, we need to identify the alternatives or we need to identify the solutions. There are different solutions may be available for that particular problem. We need to analyze. Third step is analyzing the alternatives. We need to analyze the different solutions for that particular problem. And we should select an effective solution for that problem. Last step is accepting the consequence of the decision. We must mentally ready for accepting whatever consequence it comes. We should accept it as it comes. Okay. So these are the different steps of the decision making. Next is assertiveness. Assertiveness means confident and a forceful behavior. That is the exact meaning of assertiveness. The person who is a confident and a forceful behavior. That is what we call, how we will define the assertiveness. So there are some benefits of being assertiveness in the workplace. So being assertiveness in the right way at work can have many advantages for you, your team, and your company as a whole. So the benefits of appropriate workplace assertiveness include self-esteem and self-confidence improve, greater contributions to the team performance. We can contribute a greater things to that for the effective performance of the team. Stress management skills will improve. So normally, there definitely in every job there should be a stress, is it? So this assertiveness behavior help us to manage the stress management. It helps to improve the stress management skills. Now, next point is how to develop the assertiveness skills. The first one is improve your self-confidence. For developing the assertiveness, the first step is you need to improve your self-confidence. Second is You should communicate your needs confidently. So what all needs you actually demand, you should communicate it confidently to the person who concerned. Okay. Next is understand you can only control your behavior. So what all behavior, if it's positives or negatives, the person, it is only you can control all the emotions. So we need to recognize that you are the only one who control your behavior. Now we need to practice being assertive. How to become an assertive? That you should practice. So next is negotiation. Negotiation is another important management skill. Actually, there are qualities that allow two or more people to reach a compromise. These are often soft skills and it include abilities such as communication, persuasion, planning, strategizing, and cooperating. So understanding this skill is a first step to becoming a strong negotiator. So having a good negotiation skill that plays an important role for a successful supervisor. So being a good negotiator, it all allows you to build, maintain, and improve an important workplace relationship also. So negotiation is a very important part of being a successful supervisor. So that's all for today. So I'm just winding up today's session. So we will continue the remaining part of this chapter in the next class. So thank you.